Okay, now we're going to have a walk through the module review section. So we're now FCI Quality Assurance and Enhancement group on SharePoint. Let me click module review report. Okay, here we go. It's finally uploaded. Now we can filter out by module code or module title, but for most of us this term or this year, we're going to have to create new modules. So that you filter out the same way as we have with everything else. But to create a new module, we just click the new button here. Okay, once you've clicked new, this will open up this little window here. Very simple. So part 1 required for the boards, and we'll go down as we go. So this will be the module number. You can see here's one I've typed earlier. Then we put our module name. There we go, module title. Module credit value. Now we have a drop down here that we can use. Okay, division. There we are. Department and subject area. So fairly straightforward stuff. And then of course the module leader. There we go. Alright, so it says here, please provide the details on how many assessments this module has, the type of assessment, and the respective weighting. An example, 2 assessments that are a portfolio and an essay, 80% and 20%. Now, you just click on the little pencil, which will give you space to type. So for this, I would say, it's a 20 credit module with a project output, 1 assessment worth 100%. Okay, and we'd save that. So there we go. Then we look down. Does this module include? Now, what we're looking, because this is a report, we're looking for as much accuracy as possible. There's no point in clicking things because I think it makes us look good, because it doesn't. We just want reality, the cold hard facts. So this particular module here was the first module for the first year, so definitely has some immersive learning in it, but nothing else really. Is this module bonded, non-bonded, or partially bonded? So here looking at assessment meets all the learning outcomes. It does, so it's bonded. Was it sampled by the external examiner? Not yet. So no. Sample to the external examiner. So that's this little drop-down menu here. So it'll ask how it's done. Now, ideally, what we'd have for all of ours this year is that they're online or via Turnitin. The simplest way to do that is to give your EE access to Blackboard, and they will already automatically have a login. Did you send the standard expected sample to the external examiner? Of course, I didn't send anything, so I'm not going to click that one. Please provide the details of sample if non-standard. Now, we would expect, at least in our area, for everything to be standard. Put your date in that you sent everything to your EE. Is this module part of a course that has a course-specific regulation? None of our courses have that, so it's a simple one. Is this module accredited or form part of an accredited course? None of our courses are accredited by external organisations, except for the MSc, in which case we'd click no for all but obviously the MSc. Was there a cohort extension for this module? Now, there probably wasn't. Was there modification to the assessment for COVID-19? Now, when we talk about modifications for assessments, we would talk about it going through the formal process. So alterations on the brief, so looking at how things are submitted perhaps, or say presentation online versus presentation in person. And if those things I would tick no for. Okay. So we're asking here for a review of data. What is usual profile for the module? Discuss in terms how they perform in each assessment in comparison to previous cohorts. So now, because this particular module, this is the first time it's run, so I would say that you might draw comparison to previous modules that are similar, but we're looking for kind of cold hard comparison. So in previous years, there were more firsts than there were this year. This could be down to the change in assessment process, or down to the change in assessment criteria, something like that. That's it. We don't need masses of text here. We don't need anything emotive. We're not writing scripts or poems. We're just reporting on the facts. So, any key factors that have affected assessment? Well, there'll probably be some. One of those things might be COVID, but more than likely it's the knock-on effects of COVID. So not the illness itself, although we might have some issues with that in terms of access to campus facilities, for example. But it's probably more like the impact of mental health or financial health because of COVID. Okay, now this is the simple stuff. Total number of students, you can get this answer on Quercus, and you can get all of these answers on Quercus too. So we're breaking down these numbers. This is a good spread of numbers here. Now, that is a good spread. That is not a usual spread. So that is something to look at when it comes to looking at your cohort ratios. So maybe back up here, when you're looking at a review of your data, you might say, yes, we've had an unusually high number of students receive a first this year. This may be because of the different assessment approach, might be because of all of the asynchronous learning material created, because of a blended learning approach. Okay, let's jump into part 2. So this can be done after boards, but definitely worth looking at. So when we're talking about a contextual statement, it's really this kind of stuff. Is if the module is run for the first time, if it's being phased out, is there a change of modulators during the year, any other matters that would should be important for people reading the report. Now remember, this is a time to kind of air all of the stuff that we need to air. The only way we can make a module better, the only way we can make a course better, is if we have a clear understanding. It's not a matter of trying to be defensive or trying to make excuses or trying to kind of justify where things have been have happened the way they have. It's just a matter of reporting what they are. So, for example, we might say for this particular module, I would say this is the first time this module's run. We moved the place in the course this module would usually run. It now ran as the immersive learning first module for first year as opposed to the second module. In first year for these students, first design module, it was run blended, so it had asynchronous material connected to on-campus experiential activity. This was a success, this module. That might be it for contextual statements. Now, showing a good practice, anything that has been successful or innovative for the module. So in this particular module, it would definitely be the asynchronous learning material and the relationship between that and the success of the student. You might also then put in here any problems that have encountered and any measures which have been put in place to address them. So for example, previous modules of this type run on the program that I taught had retention issues, significant retention issues. An action or a measure that was taken was to create weekly task lists and then videos based on those task lists for students. This has been put in place and had an impact on retention, positive impact on retention. Now we can look at here how we sort student feedback. So it'd be for something like course evaluation, loop, key issues that students raise. So there'll always be some. There's no need to write a lot here. There's no need to kind of wax lyrical about why there might be or motivations. It's just about what is the issue, what has been raised, so we can address it in future. So will there be proposed changes to the curriculum or assessment? So I would say for this module there'd be none. It's the first time it's run, so I'd want to run it at least one more time. And then apply a label to this. So I'd retain that for 3 years and I'd save it. And that is how you do a new module report. Very, very simple. And that's how you do it. Diolch yn fawr.